How's everyone doing today? I can still feel the energy in the room. I thought you would be tired and wanting to go home. But no, it's a lot of energy in the room and love it. Love it. And when we talk about AI, what you saw yesterday was the front end of AI. What you experience as a user, what you experience as a human being trying to answer questions. But behind the magic that you see in the front, there is a massive, massive infrastructure that makes this a reality. It is the amount of compute that's needed for AI is unprecedented. This is not the kind of compute you are using to play games on your laptop or work your spreadsheets or anything of that nature. You all have experience. What's the one company that you think of when you think about AI? One single company. Say it louder. Come on. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Say it. Right. Right. So we are so honored and so privileged that NVIDIA is like saying, hey, look, if we need to bring AI to supply chain, the fact that they're acknowledging that and saying there needs to be attention paid to supply chain, feel very honored because it's a real thing. And it's not just NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA is one of the best companies I've seen who work very well with partners, right? So that's why we have Supermicro, because it's not, obviously we need the H100s and the H200s and the AI factory from NVIDIA, but it's not just that. Somebody has to help put this together for the large cloud service providers, the AWSs, the Googles, the Microsofts, and that's where Supermicro comes in. What I want to do the next 45 minutes with my friends here is like explore that journey. What does it take, right, around putting this massive infrastructure together? How do you make customers successful in the world of AI? With that, I'm honored to welcome Tarik, Hammadou, and Marc Del Vecchio. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tarik, let me start with you, right? AI infrastructure build out. There's a thing or two you know about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. First, thank you so much for inviting me. And it's been an honor, to meet all of you guys. I think one of the most important thing, for NVIDIA is what our leaders ask us to do is empowering the ecosystem. And that's the reason we are here. We're here for Lyric and we're here for Supermicro. So I think when you talk about AI, it didn't happen just yesterday. AI is an evolution over the last 50 years of research and work. AI started the potential of AI, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of history and then I get into infrastructure. AI, some researchers they worked on convolutional neural networks and they realized that they can achieve image classification. And that was the AlexNet. AlexNet in 2012, a group of engineers in the University of Toronto realized by using GPUs, they can train a neural network to achieve image classification tasks. And that was the incredible moment in the evolution of AI. Then we realized that those GPUs, they were very important to train those neural networks. So then the infrastructure to train neural network was very, very important. And researchers and engineers realized there is a huge potential to get to a level of intelligence that we didn't have before. Yeah. So it started there. Now at NVIDIA, we realized that there is a very important element in computing is accelerated computing when that AlexNet moment happened. And we realized that we can achieve more than just image classification. And so when you look at all the components around AI, you have data science and machine learning. And what data science gives you, it gives you a sense. Then what you have deep learning that happened through AlexNet and through convolutional neural network. It gives you the adaptability. And then when you look at optimization, and we're talking here about supply chain, the optimization gives you the decision making. It gives you the planning. And then the last thing that happened is generative AI. It gives you the language. So yesterday, you need to be a programmer and a coder to program a machine. Now you use your natural language to tell the machine, to ask the machine to achieve specific tasks. So that's an incredible evolution in computing. And now for us, as I said, empowering our ecosystem from ISVs building those softwares all the way to our OEMs. Imagine that what we need to do is designing our chips and all the way delivering data centers to our partners. And the ecosystem is very important there. So the compute infrastructure matter. So everyone here, if you are using accelerated computing to speed up your optimization, you need the compute infrastructure. And today it's a reality. We're working with a thousand of partners in order to make that compute infrastructure available for organizations like yours, in order to use softwares like Lyric to achieve your goal.
Thank you. Had to happen now. Spam call. Marc, looking at you, can you tell us what you do at Supermicro? For people who don't know Supermicro, it'd be great for them to get an understanding, intuitive understanding of what Supermicro does.
Sure. Yeah, no, Supermicro is a bit of a name recognition issue. We don't have consumer products, but we are a hardware manufacturer. We're based in San Jose, California. We started out making motherboards, and through time, we've gone to making complete systems for traditional compute, AI acceleration, storage, networking. We have the whole thing now, including whole rack scale systems. So my role at Supermicro, I'm on the edge side of the business. So not much the data center, more on the edge, working with retailers specifically, brick and mortar locations, their distribution centers, their warehouses, manufacturing as well. So, we hit both sides of it. Supermicro, we're known for our data center systems, our rack scale systems that have been helping to empower the AI revolution that we talk about very often. NVIDIA is obviously one of our best partners there. But we also handle the smaller size devices that can go into the back of a store, retail location, warehouse, and whatnot. So we were on both sides of it, from your hyperscalers, like you mentioned before, to literally at the store edge. We are putting systems in all those locations.
So you're putting the supply chain together for people who need this infrastructure.
Yeah, we're empowering the solutions that you guys have been talking about. We work very heavily with retails. One of our big areas for the Edge Group. We did a survey, probably about early this year. We did a survey about 150 retailers across the U.S. and the EU space, and we asked them, "What are you doing with AI? Are you doing anything? If you are, hey, how's it going?"
Yeah,
because AI gets talked about a lot. Everything's AI now. You go to any trade show, everything's AI. The bottle of water has AI. It's it's been a buzzword for quite some time. And we talked about not using buzzwords yesterday. So we just want to really get a pulse of the industry and see what they're doing. And we got some very interesting results, and very relevant to what we're talking about here. We found first that 3 out of 5 retailers out of those 150, 3 out of 5 are either currently using or planning to use AI in their supply chain operations. So the message is out there. They realize the value of it. They realize it's not just some fanciful idea in a lab. It's really going to help them, their operations. Second one was interesting. 78% said they were spending more on AI projects in the coming year. So 150 retailers, 2 continents, different cultures, different retailers. 78% said they're spending more. Now, that's an interesting statistic. One, it's 78%, it's a lot. But when you look at retailers, traditionally, they operate on very thin margins. So they are not going to chase initiatives that don't have a return, that are not going to bring money back in the door. Even more interesting on that same question is 0%. Nobody across all those people, retailers, said they were going to spend less. That is 0% are spending less on AI. It's a crazy number to think about. And then third statistic from there I'll share with this is that 78% said they were seeing monetary returns from their AI investments. Now it's kind of like a corollary to the second statement where, no one's spending less, because retailers are seeing when they implement AI at the retail edge in their data centers and their supply chain systems, it's saving them dollars. It's bringing dollars back in. So yeah, it's here, and retailers are really adopting it.
That's amazing to hear. So back to a little bit about the infrastructure build out. Sorry, I read somewhere that the amount of spend enterprises are doing in AI infrastructure alone, right, is outpacing consumer spend.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Like, we as consumers are spending less money than just these cloud service providers are spending on AI infrastructure. Can you throw some light on that? Because you're right in the two of you are right in the middle of that massive infrastructure build out that I don't think we've ever seen before. Right. So give us a flavor for what it is, like that whole build out.
My point of view there, every single company, it doesn't matter what market you are, to stay relevant and in this, I will say, the agentic AI economy, you will need to go through a transformation. And that transformation will start with your IT infrastructure. You need to have the IT infrastructure relevant in order to get into this transformation. This transformation matters to your customers. Your customers are becoming more sophisticated. The new generation are the kids. They talk to ChatGPT more than they talk to their parents. So, and that's a reality. I think the IT infrastructure for the enterprise is going to be the most important, in the next 10 to 15 years. It is $1 trillion economy, and
Can you repeat that number again?
It's $1 trillion economy.
Did you hear that number?
And
in case.
and businesses, they are going to be becoming more efficient. They're going to be more robust, more resilient. And that robustness and resiliency, you will not get it without IT infrastructure investment. So having those, when we at NVIDIA, we're very proud to be very, very close to our ecosystem and also our customers. And we are asked the question, what is the first step towards that, transformation? Is look at your IT infrastructure. Invest in your IT infrastructure. Take small steps. Work close with the ecosystems. The ecosystem are like a group of partners, because this is a sport team. This is not one company gonna take the monopoly. This is companies like Supermicro, many companies Lyric, and companies like NVIDIA, and start on that transformation journey. And start your IT infrastructure investments.
Marc, do you want to add to that? Like you seeing like obviously NVIDIA is providing the most important ingredient for putting these data centers together.
Yeah.
But you have to worry about 1,000 other things alongside NVIDIA. What's going on in the infrastructure build out side for you?
It's truly, like NVIDIA says a lot. It's a new industrial revolution. Everyone is retooling, building new factories to support AI because everyone sees the value of it. To compete in the business world, you're going to have to use AI. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm worried about losing my job because of AI." That's not. It needs to be reworded. You need to think about losing your job if you're not using AI. It's going to be another business tool that we all use, and the infrastructure build out is, in trillions. The amount of money it's being put into is crazy, but it's happening, and it's happening across the board, data center and at the edge.
So you folks are staying busy at work?
Yeah,
you're busy. So now I wanted you to now switch to kind of taking a peek at your own supply chain, right? So, Marc, maybe I start with you, right? Let's talk about the infrastructure, the whole supply chain of putting data centers together, where you folks are helping out. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then Tarik, you can talk us about the AI factory, BGX, the H200 supply chains.
Sure. So with Supermicro, we're an engineering company at heart, which we connect with you very much on that level. Unlike our competitors, we manufacture everything ourselves. We design and manufacture everything in-house. We don't contract manufacture everything. So that means for us, everything is built to order, right? We don't really hold inventory. We get an order and we build it with the components that we have. One of the advantages, again, that, since we design everything, we have control over the design. So it's quality control, but that's also the ability to provide customized solutions to customers. We don't have exactly something that you need. We can piece it together with other things. We call it the building block concept. And we have that both at the edge level and at the data center level as well. You hear our CEO talk about the data center building block model. We have both. But that means we have a lot of pieces that we have to put together. So during Sam's talk yesterday about Krispy Kreme, I started to realize, it's actually kind of similar to what we do.
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme, nobody wants a stale donut. They're going to make it that day of, okay, what do we need to produce? What are the forecasts? Okay, this is what we're making today.
Yeah.
Grab some water, sugar, flour, and then make the donuts. For us, it's just different pieces. Instead of that, we're grabbing motherboards, chassis, NVIDIA GPUs, we're putting together and we're building it on a production schedule that our customers are demanding. We do everything, just in time manufacturing. So for us, inventory management or supply chain management is very, very critical, because we need to take not only our self-designed, self-built components, we have to take CPUs, NVIDIA GPUs, hard drives, memory, all those things, bring it all together, all different supply chains that literally span the globe that are coming into our San Jose facility for production. And we need to have it all arrive right at the right time, everything built, tested, and out the door to the customers, because the demand is insatiable for these systems. Everyone wants them, the cloud providers, retailers directly, everyone, that we just need to keep moving. We can't slow down. We can't have a hiccup. So we utilize multiple tools in our supply chain. Some of them are AI enabled. We're definitely beyond the point of a room full of people with Excel sheets. That's not going to work anymore, not with this complex of a supply.
So you need Lyric is what you're saying.
We need Lyric, yeah.
Just making sure.
I have the PO here for you. Yeah. Evan?
Tarik, what about I think everybody's curious to know what is the NVIDIA supply chain, and you have some help from Bernie, the guy who was building the supply chain for you.
I think when you look at supply chain in general, an end-to-end supply chain is very, very complex for every single business.
Yes.
It's a universal problem that started the day that humanity stopped trading.
Yeah.
So as we are progressing towards the era where we live today, it's getting more complex. It's getting people to buy, and our customers are becoming more demanding in terms of the quality of the service. So in terms of NVIDIA, I do believe that we have possibly one of the most complex supply chain in the world. And from designing a GPU, designing a CPU, designing the networking, all the way to delivering a data centers, maintaining those data centers. I believe it's mind-blowing when I just start thinking about it. So I have a very privileged, we have my colleague Barani, who is an expert within NVIDIA in supply chain. You guys can ask him questions. We do have the most complex, and we are excited because in the problem, in the complexity, there is an opportunity. Because we also happen that we designed a complete end-to-end software stack to enable companies like Lyric. And for us, that AI, that data science, the math behind optimization engines are the key to solve these complex problems. So yeah, I believe that we have a very, very complex supply chain network. We see it as a great opportunity to build possibly the best platform out there to solve our own problems. So that's why we're here to listen to you guys. We're here to share with you guys our experience. And Barani is here, he can tell you more. He's a guy that wake up in the morning with all those problems.
Barani, do you want to say something about the NVIDIA supply chain? Summarize it for 2 minutes for what is the complexity?
Yeah, I think all of us know.
1 sec, we got.
1 second, so you don't have to yell.
That's Barani Ranganathan, folks.
Yeah, all of us know the traditional supply chain work well for high volume, low complexity products, or low volume, or high volume or low complexity. But our supply chain is high volume and high complexity, and all the traditional supply chain concepts break. Right? And that's where we are in the middle of that particular supply chain, re-architecting and re-engineering the way that we want to run our own supply chains and our operations, right? So you all know that every company operates in it differently, but NVIDIA is pretty unique, I would say. And I'm privileged to be part of that particular program where I'm leading this whole digital supply chain intelligence program for us, implementing automations, bringing in intelligence, and implementing AI across every process in our organization. You look at it like product engineering or test engineering or planning. It could be like production planning or factory planning, purchasing, logistics, servicing. Every process needs an automation, right? And traditional supply chain, the traditional way of doing things does not work for us anymore. And we are at the realm of like, how do we run our supply chain or rebalance our supply chain every day, multiple times a day? So you know that traditional APS, advanced planning systems, we run it once a week, right? And we get the output on a supply plan on a Monday morning. We go and execute it. And then by the time you execute it, your whole supply chain changes. But our supply chain changes every hour. So there's no way that we can run a planning system and then go and do an execution on a weekly basis. But we have to run our planning systems every day, but multiple times a day. So that's where we invented co-op. So that's revolutionizing our own supply chain. We are using it for our own supply chain to run the optimization, demand and supply balancing every day, but multiple times a day. So that's
Amazing.
a game changer.
That's amazing. So Bernie, like in the history of mankind, is NVIDIA the most supply constrained supply chain ever? Is right now? Is that a true statement?
Probably on the planet right now.
Yeah. In a long, long time. I don't think we've imagined I can't think of another supply chain in the history of mankind where we've not had this much supply constraint. How about that? Isn't that great? It's a great problem to have, unless you're the one who has to solve it. Excellent. So, thank you, Barney. So let's talk about a little bit about people think of NVIDIA, right? Primarily, when you think about NVIDIA, you think about the A100, then H100, now H200, Blackwell systems, AI factory. But NVIDIA is doing a whole lot more than that. And Bernie touched upon it a little bit, talking about inventing co-op for serving its own needs. Tarik, can you walk us through the entire stack of things NVIDIA is doing on the software side to kind of make sure that people are accelerated in this whole AI journey?
Yeah, so it's a very, very good question. And when you look at NVIDIA, a lot of people, they think about NVIDIA, about GPUs. That's the first thing that came to their mind. That's what sometimes you read in the news. But over the last 15 to 20 years, NVIDIA have been investing in how to empower those GPUs, how to enable those GPUs. The key, many years ago, it was the invention of CUDA. CUDA helped us abstract the complexity of parallel processing. CUDA just made it much easier to program those parallel processes in the GPU. That was a very, very unique moment. But then at NVIDIA, we realized with the CUDA is very complex. Many years ago, I remember I was an engineer. When I said I'm gonna program in CUDA, people laughed at me. It was very, very complex. And today, probably you're not going to learn CUDA, so it was complex. So what NVIDIA have done, start create another level of abstraction with CUDA X and building libraries to abstract that complexity. And then when we saw the opportunity, using CUDA for accelerated computing, build libraries. So those libraries, you're going to, in a data science, you have just accelerating data curation, for example, with QDF. And that gives you the speed of execution. Barani spoke about QOpt. QOpt is a set of libraries for mathematical solvers. So you don't need to go at a very, very low level of programming. And then we realize, hey, this accelerated computing is going to enable different industries. So we start building frameworks. And those frameworks today at NVIDIA are across every single industry. And, I don't know how we do it, but it's across every single industry, from automotive, government, retail and CPG, manufacturing, semiconductor. We built frameworks to create another level of abstract the complexity of programming those GPUs. And those libraries, the accelerated compute libraries, now become the core of building AI. Now, when OpenAI realizes, for me, the AlexNet and the OpenAI is very, very similar, but the OpenAI, they realize they can train a billion parameters and create this generative AI large language models. So the software that is built on in NVIDIA is imagine. Sometimes I wake up and say, how are we doing this with 37,000 people? The key here, we use AI too. Every single colleague I have, including Barani, we use AI in our business. I feel every single employee at NVIDIA has a force multiplier. And we believe in that. So we consume AI before going to the marketplace. We have experience in consuming it. So we build the software that help us use efficiently accelerated computing, but we consume AI. We consume AI in every single business. So that's the key in NVIDIA. Our CEO tell us whatever we create, use it first to solve problem in our business, and then we share it with the community. The community is companies like Lyric and companies like Supermicro, and it will end in the hand of people like you guys in your industry.
Awesome. And do you want to add, Marc?
Like I said, I mean, we leverage their technology with our hardware, and we enable all the solutions they're talking about. Again, data center level at the edge. We're here to empower all the solutions that we've been talking about between yesterday and go through today.
Got it. So, I have a couple of informal questions, Tarik, if that's okay. I didn't set you up. I didn't prepare you for this.
Yeah.
Right?
There is no media here, right?
No. A couple of questions before we kind of talk about call to action and let the audience ask questions. Now, I mean, I know Tarik for a while now, right? I'll tell you what's happening today is every major Fortune 500 company today is spending a trip out to Santa Clara, trying to learn from NVIDIA on how they should think about AI. And I know for a fact that, Tarik, you are in some of these very top-to-top conversations between CEOs of these Fortune 500 companies and Jensen. Can you give us a sense for what are the kind of questions being asked by these CEOs and, how you kind of help them along in that journey, if that's okay to answer that, right?
So I think we are super passionate about our the opportunity given to us to be doing what we do every day. I think it's from our top leaders all the way to every employee, and we like to be very, very generous in terms of welcoming all industries. I mean, we do have in the last 5 years, it was incredible. My colleague ran, if I ask her the number of EBC, Executive Briefing Center meetings she had, the CEOs, she invited from every single company in retail and CPG is incredible. And we answer any question. We're here to help. We're here to empower our ecosystem. We're here also to share our challenges and our problems. And we like to be open and transparent. And we see the market as all partners. We learn from each other. there is an intellectual challenge always to solve, and we like to build communities. So, when we have executives coming, the first question is, how do I move towards what do I do in order to achieve that transformation? People understand AI. They know that AI it's something that gonna revolutionize their business and gonna make a change in their life. And in general, in business, that first step is always a challenge. So we are always open. We receive organizations almost on a weekly basis. We share our experience. We open the door. We most of our business is not direct. It's through the ecosystem. It starts by simply empowering companies like Lyric. We don't make much noise about it, but I do believe we have the largest incubator of AI startup companies in the world. It's a program called Inception Program. We have an army of people. What they do is empowering companies like Lyric. And those companies are very important, the ecosystem important. So my message to you guys, invest in the ecosystem. The ecosystem is, don't look at those startup companies that just as suppliers. At the end of the day, they come to you guys with an inspiration and with a business idea. You bring those companies, you nurture those companies, it will give you that edge in order to move fast. And our companies NVIDIA, there is other our partners, the NCPs, open up to those, come visit, open your mind to share the challenges. And I think that's the way to move forward.
Excellent. Now you're wrapping this up for us nicely. Marc, anything you want to add?
Yes, I've gone out to the NVIDIA campus. It's very impressive. What they're doing out there is groundbreaking stuff. It really is. And, Tarik referenced earlier, he was talking about the software side of it, which I think a lot of people don't realize. It's a very important integral part of what NVIDIA does. Some of the frameworks we actually use at Supermicro as well. We use the NVIDIA blueprints. We've done a lot of cool things, for both internally, for marketing events, for trade shows and whatnot. The software stack is equally as powerful as the hardware. I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'll just wrap this up before I open it up for questions. Hopefully you got a sense through this conversation, the need for urgency around this topic, because there is something happening for sure at scale that we've not imagined before. I think that is the thing. It's not like an incremental change. The quantum of scale of the preparation for what's coming, it's obvious. It's there for all of us to see. It's not an application software company pushing it and promoting it. I mean, that's my job. So, but the proof is in the data point that you can see. It's in front of all of us. The scale of investment is unprecedented. The money coming in these are some of the smartest people in the world, right? Not just NVIDIA, right? But also Supermicro, who's helping out the infrastructure build out, but the people who are actually paying for it. You always have to say, who's paying for this? It's the cloud service providers. The cloud service providers have an amazing vantage point because they're seeing us consume all the compute. They are in their demand forecasting tool. Hopefully it'll be Lyric soon. They can see the demand going up and up and up. Right? If that is happening, that's what is giving them all the motivation to say, let's put in $20 billion, $30 billion. That's the scale of money they're putting into this stuff, right? So if that is happening, it's a good lead time that we have. We are supply chain people at the end of the day. We need lead time. We like to work with lead time, right? So we have the short lead time to get ready. The signal is already there for the smart ones to see that it's coming. We have about 6 months to 12 months to get really ramped up on this, right? So I'll finish by saying, next Empower, you have a top secret today. You have 12 months to get ready. When we come together next Empower, let's all be AI first people, AI first enterprises. Thank you. Thank you, Tarik, Marc. I'll open it up for questions.
So we do have time for questions. If anyone has a question, bear with me as I roll around. But does anyone have anything they want to ask the crew? Jim? Down here.
Jim, if you don't mind introducing yourself before asking the question.
Yeah, Jim Small with Coca-Cola Consolidated. Tarik, when you speak to most of these Fortune 500 companies or organizations, where do their AI initiatives originate from? Is it top down? Is it mid-level? Is it bottom up?
You know, it's a very good question. So I would say there are different levels. There is a level where it's more strategic, usually at the CEO level, and we receive many CEOs of those companies. And sometimes for us going to the factory, and I spent many hours with the CPG companies trying to understand these problems. And what I realized, the most important the solution start by a well-articulated problem statement. The operational people, because you cannot create intelligence without really understanding that the problem and getting that a human input in operations. So for us, be honest with you, I'm not a supply chain expert or a CPG expert. I'm a technology person. And for us, understanding the problem and the human input is very important in AI. And that starts at the operational level. So most of the projects that I have been involved with is when you go to the low level, the bottom, understanding the problem and moving up and taking it then to the leadership. You will make more efficient strategic decisions. So I have seen organization just throwing money to AI and getting nowhere. So that part, we really believe on it's a journey, it's a partnership. Yes, we need to move at the speed of light because that's the business of today. It's all about speed. So, but in my experience is you spend time with the operator, understand the problem, bring the ecosystem, develop strategies from bottom up. That's my belief.
Other questions?
Let me come back here and then I'll come over the side.
Hi, Charles from ExxonMobil. I was wondering, do you guys have any recommendations, opinions, tips on foundational things that need to be done to go into this kind of space, whether it's AI or whether it's Lyric? I look at, we have data as one of our foundations. What are the tips? Because sometimes we just think of our data is not patronage-wise. It's not even in the system, or it's bad. So we can't make that next step towards a Lyric or an AI. But what are your recommendations or tips or whatever, or just opinions on how would you address foundational things like data in order to get to this AI stage?
So, look, it's my experience. 80% of the companies, when we start discussions, it's the fragmented source of data, especially in the consumer packaged goods. Data come from different sources. You have your warehouse or your manufacturing. You have your OT layer completely isolated from your IT layer. It's a big challenge. I think again the how you can move forward is towards leveraging the ecosystem. You are going to have. We work very very close to all the GSIs. Out there, Deloitte, Accenture, and all of them. We work also with the SDPs. There is few of them here today. And we work with companies like Lyric. Leverage the ecosystem. And also what's important is that's what we do. We share our own experience in terms of how we solve those problems. The fragmented source of data, I see it as the major the major issue moving towards an AI transformation. But also having, yesterday the talk, Krispy Kreme I really liked it. You do have the big idea. You have the budget. You need the authority. At the end of the day, you are going to, when you make those decisions around transformation, you're going to take risk. Of course, you're going to evaluate the reward. but going and building, leveraging the ecosystem, identifying the companies that can help you, and we're very, very open, to discuss. We host EBCs we host people at our executive briefing center, and we share with them our experience in getting through that AI transformation.
Actually, can I show of hands? How many people feel that they are working in organizations that does bad data? Be bold, don't worry. Okay. How many people who can raise hands and say, in my organization, I have great data? That's a better way to frame it, I think.
I just want to ask one thing very important. And again, guys, this is actually across. I said 90%. I'm just a little bit nice, maybe 99%.
Yeah.
It's the challenge. The challenge is, but we look at it. That's where the complexity starts. The complexity starts at the fragmented source of data, and it's a journey on itself to consolidate that data and clean that data. And I think it but again, you need to have the most important thing in this type of transformation is leadership. You can have all the ideas of the world. You have the budget. You need leadership. And sometimes leadership is when you create leadership happen when you create this type of communities and talk and share ideas. And you probably will talk to the person next to you and say, here is what I've done. And that's important. Communication. Communication. It's between people like us is something that AI will not replace. That's the type of human intelligence that will be always powerful. Artificial intelligence will not change. So that's the most important thing for me. Empower you guys, empower other ISVs in our ecosystem like Lyric, and come to those small gathering. That's where leadership will raise.
Any other questions? Anyone? Good. Brian.
Hi there, Brian Dye, Lyric. Real quick question, Tarik. How has AI ML changed the way that you guys go about productizing SDKs, APIs? Is it changed drastically, or kind of similar to how you've been doing things in the past?
Yeah, I think we stayed true to our mission. As I explained to you, we saw the power of GPUs. We invented CUDA. We invented CUDA-X and accelerated compute libraries. We built SDKs, and we stayed over the last 20 years true to our mission. So those SDKs, we did open them to partners like my friend here. QOpt is a live accelerated compute library for mathematical solvers, and we open sourced it. And then what we have done, we said, okay, we need to help organization like yours, because it's very challenging for a startup company to bring an enterprise solution. It will be almost impossible mission. So we created NVIDIA AI Enterprise. NVIDIA AI Enterprise with all our partners, our CSPs and our OEM partners. It gives you that solution that Lyric will build under NVIDIA AI Enterprise support. So we stayed true to our mission. So all the SDKs that we built, it's the same fashion, the same recipes. Accelerated computing is at the core of our business, and we created a layer of NVIDIA AI Enterprise to bring those solutions from our ecosystem to the marketplace.
Excellent.
1 second.
Good morning, Jeremy with Kinetic Vision. Sun Microsystems said the network is the computer. And there's always a rebalance between the cloud, the edge, and the network. It'd just be great if you guys could talk a little bit about your viewpoint on that. I see it as always just a kind of a constant shifting and rebalancing as things change. But I would just love to hear your opinion on that.
Sure. Yeah, there definitely seems to be a cyclic nature to it for sure. It's mainframes and terminals, and it was the PC. Now it's cloud. You see that kind of going around in cycles. What we see from our side is that, from the data center side, you're going to have your large data sets, your data lakes, all that stuff that's going to require that big AI processing that a lot of people talk about. But then we also see a trend with companies wanting to take that processing power and not do it in the cloud because they're worried about data sovereignty. They don't want to have their corporate data. They don't feel secure. They don't want outside their IT walls, so to speak. They want to have that in local data centers or their colos. So we see that back and forth. And that's company by company how they feel about it. And then I would say at the edge, let's say for retail or warehouse operations, AI computer vision is a very common use case. You have heat mapping stores, you have safety protocols in warehouses, inventory control, manufacturing, you have product control on manufacturing lines. Those kind of use cases, you really can't run them in the cloud, right? Because you're doing video processing. You have probably three enemies there. You have latency. You can't have latency if you're doing high speed computer vision for a myriad of use cases. So you want to have that local. Even if it wasn't local, you're talking hundreds, if not thousands of HD camera streams. You don't want to shoot that up across a WAN connection because it's going to be very expensive. It's going to be problematic. You're going to run the issues there. And third, like I mentioned, is, we talk about security, like data sovereignty is one, but you look at regulations like GDPR and whatnot. If it's imagery of customers or people in a location, you can't really send those images out to the internet. You need to do that local AI inferencing there and just send metadata up. So again, I think there's a cyclic nature in it, but with AI, at least there are certain reasons why one's definitely going to be edge, where one is, going to lean towards the data center side. Sure.
Questions? All right. Thank you guys. So thank you so much, Marc. Thank you, Tarik. We really, really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks everybody for the great questions. So it is time to go to the breakouts.
Thank you
Right.
very much.